Hey, it's Tim with the University Vinyl. Thank you for tuning in again today. Hope everyone had a relaxing Memorial Day weekend. Those, of course, who are watching in the United States. I hate to brag, but I have had an incredible hot streak over the last 2 weeks. You might remember I went on a little record shopping excursion to Los Angeles, found great stuff there. And then just kind of randomly, I happened to pop into different places. And a lot of this stuff is being in the right place at the right time. And I've talked about this in the past. If you are actively collecting records and looking to add to your collection, you really need to kind of find time to pop into your typical haunts. On a regular, frequent basis. Maybe that's once a week. Maybe it's once every 2 weeks. But if you go a month and you don't drop into these places, or maybe you have a back channel communication system set up with someone who might work in some of these places, if you're not in the loop and you're not making an effort, you're not going to find great pressings and great things to add to your collection. So I thought I would run through pretty much everything that I've picked up in the last couple weeks. Now, remember, there was a small and growing, I don't want to diss those guys, they're good friends of mine, the Northern Colorado Record Show held in Fort Collins, Colorado. This was the second annual show now. Held a couple weeks ago. I think it was the weekend of May. It was Sunday, May 19th. A great show, great turnout. It was in a local brewery, so you had beers on hand if you needed to take a break and grab a delicious brew. Pretty good menu options, and the place was packed. I bought an early bird ticket, but I'm gonna get to that in a couple minutes, and I'll talk about a little bit of a preamble about things I found just kind of randomly at different record shops. And I think I'm going to name the different places that I found these. Okay, first off, if you follow me on Instagram, and if you're a longtime viewer of my videos and my channel here on YouTube, you know that I'm kind of a freak on the Quiex 2 pressings. This is actually kind of a newfangled Quiex 2 label. This, of course, is this Troubled album from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Southern Accents. This was originally planned to be a double album. This is the record where Tom Petty, in frustration, smashed, I can't remember if it was his right hand or his left hand, smashed his wrist, and he was lucky to play guitar again after that situation. But this is an interesting record, and this is the best version that I've heard so far. I have a near mint example that's going to go in the trade pile, or maybe I'll list it on Discogs, or maybe I'll bring it into a shop. Who knows? Anyway, I found this on the Saturday before the Northern Colorado Record Show at Driver 8 Records. I've done a video with Charles at Driver 8 here in Fort Collins. Great shop, and definitely had to pick this up when I saw this. As mentioned earlier, the Northern Colorado Record Show, shout out to Lance and Nick if you're watching. A great local show. There were probably, I'm going to guess, somewhere between 30 and 40 dealers at this show. And, I did kind of a laser-focused thing. Because I had just gotten back from LA, I didn't want to go super crazy. And despite what you see today, I am trying to be more selective moving forward. So I think I picked up 5 records at the show from 2 vendors only. And the first one, do you see a recurring theme here? This Quiex 2 pressing of Van Halen's 1984 record is not easy to find, and I was thrilled to find this with that hype sticker that you don't always see as well. This thing rocks. I don't know. Probably to MoFi double 45 RPM pressing. When and if that comes out, we'll probably beat this. But for the time being, I am good with this, and I've got a Chris Bellman reissue, and I have another original pressing from '84 that, again, they're going to go into the trade pile. So definitely an upgrade situation, and even better finding the Quiex pressing. A brief aside, if you don't know about Quiex pressings, they were a higher quality vinyl compound that was marketed and put out beginning in around 1980, 1981 throughout the 1980s. And they are basically translucent if you hold those up to light. And many of these came with the Quiex 2 kind of hype sticker. They were limited edition pressings. But there are also kind of sleeper copies out there. I know of a few, a couple well-regarded ones. The Rush Signals record, the Synchronicity Police record on that beautiful purple translucent. Basically, any records from the 1980s, if you're kind of put them on your turntable and you're wondering, wow, this is a great sounding record. Just as an afterthought, put that thing up to a light, and you might have a Quiex 2 pressing on your hands, especially if you don't see the hype sticker on the cover. I love the original kind of stable of outlaw country artists, and one of those, of course, front and center is Merle Haggard. This is a great record. It's actually a mono, near mint condition, on of course, the Capitol Rainbow label. Really happy to find this. I found this from Zach, great local record collector / dealer, from the same booth as the Van Halen record. The second vendor had some really interesting stuff. He is actually an expat British guy. And I have seen him around, at the Rocky Mountain Record Show a couple times, and I've purchased from him in the past. And this is a record that I don't know how I didn't end up buying this. A couple months ago at the Denver show, he had that there. This, of course, is Apple Venus Volume 1. An amazing sounding XTC record. Definitely latter period. There would only be one more record after this, sadly. And, this was only at that point in time Andy and Colin. Dave Gregory basically had gotten fed up with Andy, really, principally, and had left the band. So we were down to Andy and Colin. This is a gorgeous package. I do have the Ape reissue. Look at the embossing on that cover. The record is near mint. The sound quality is amazing. If you know XTC records, then you know they were all really well recorded, well engineered, and just an incredible. This is a latter period masterpiece. There are some people who will put this as far as the XTC discography at the top. So if you're not familiar with Apple Venus, check this thing out. Go stream it. The Ape reissue is definitely no slouch. All of those reissues were done so well. But UK original pressing, of course. This is definitely my forever copy. Ahmad Jamal, 73. This is interesting. He switched to the Hammond, he switched to the Rhodes electric piano for most of this record, and it's an interesting listen. I like it. I need to hear it again. I've only spun this record once so far, but pretty cool record. I don't see this very often, especially this clean. I have seen one that has horrible ring wear, but there you have it. That is Ahmad Jamal 73. Last but not least, at the Northern Colorado Record Show, I've got a U.S. pressing of this. This is one of my favorite McCartney records. Of course, it was a gatefold, and you can probably tell with that laminated cover that this is an original UK pressing. Great record. Maybe I'm amazed. The lovely Linda is on here. Other great songs. For me, it's Ram, this record, Band on the Run, and I like Wildlife too. So anyway, really nice, clean, original UK pressing. Sounds great. So the following week, I had some work appointments in Greeley, Colorado. Greeley is basically east of Fort Collins. It's it's the county seat of Weld County, which is, I think, one of the wealthiest counties in Colorado. A lot of oil operations in Weld County. Also, home to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not controversial, but in the old days, basically there's a JBS meat slaughterhouse in Greeley on the far eastern side of town. And if the wind is not going the right direction, you could actually have slaughterhouse fumes enveloping the other than that, it's a pretty lovely town. Greeley is an interesting place. And there's a record shop there called Downtown Sound. They relocated from Loveland, Colorado to Greeley. They've got a great location right in the kind of old town of Greeley. And I had some time to kill between appointments, and I had never been there before, so I wanted to check it out. And on the wall, I see this, a Santa Maria early pressing with the promo sticker. I've never seen this promo sticker on a Harvest Neil Young record. Of course, it's in very nice condition. It's going to replace another vintage copy that I have, another 72 Santa Maria. The other Santa Maria pressing I have, this was mastered at Sterling by Lee Holko, and some copies will have LH next to or under the Sterling stamp, and other copies won't. This has LH under both sides under Sterling, so does that matter? I don't know, but I do know that this is nice and clean. I did put it through my Hummin' Guru. What a record. I've got another vintage copy. I think I just mentioned that. I've got a Chris Bellman cut as well. I think this is where I'm headed here in my kind of collecting journey. For a record like this, if I have a super clean pressing of this stature, I no longer need a second vintage copy or a reissue, because do some research, and the Santa Maria pressing, if you can find it clean with Sterling and Lee Holko's initials, many people swear by this, and I am super happy with it. So this is the copy for me. I've got two other records that I need to, figure out what to do with. So yeah, just to finish on that point, I don't want to keep 3 or 4 copies of the same record around anymore. I need to kind of pare things down a little bit and try and get away from, I'm at the point now where, I went and found a vintage copy several years ago that sounded really good. It's in VG plus condition. It has minimal to zero surface noise, but this is now going to take the top spot, and it's time to release those other copies back into the wild. Let other people enjoy those things. Okay, let's cut now to the middle of last week. You know, I was in Fort Collins, and I always make a point to stop into Bazaar. Bazaar is a used record shop and a large used bookstore right on College Avenue, which is kind of the main drag going through Fort Collins. They are opposite of the Colorado State University campus, a prime location. These guys get a ton of people coming in and getting rid of collections. In this case, it was a gentleman who basically was shopping around his brother's collection, from what I understand, and he had this actually on a spreadsheet, and he was kind of feeling out different record shops in town, in Fort Collins, three mainly, as far as I'm aware. And they ended up at Bazaar. So I strolled into this shop, I think it was last Wednesday afternoon, and I did know one of the guys working at the counter, and he knows me, and he said, "Hey, Tim, you need to check these out. I'm still pricing them." I said, "What do you have?" So let's run through three of the things I picked up from that collection. The third Ramones record, Rocket to Russia. You know, this is the record where they had a little more money to spend from Sire on the recording, on the production quality. It sounds great. It was pressed at Sterling. This is an amazing record, and really fine condition. You know, the story with this, the recording, it was done at a place called Media Sound. I think it's called Media Sound, which was in an old church on 57th Avenue. It's now a nightclub, but you can still see the kind of large, ornate doors on that building. I'm going to find this thing on Google Maps and drop it in, but it was recorded at Media Sound, which I think operated as a recording studio from the late 60s into the 1990s, and this is where this was recorded. But great record. You know, leading off with Cretin Hop, Rockaway Beach, love that song. Locket Love, I Don't Care, Sheena is a Punk Rocker, Side 2, Teenage Lobotomy, Do You Wanna Dance, Ramona, Surfin' Bird, and Why Is It Always This Way. All of these songs clocking in at less than 3 minutes. Cretin Hop is actually 1 minute and 55 seconds. I Don't Care, 1 minute and 38 seconds. A blast of euphoria when you put this on your turntable. Highly recommend this Ramones record in particular, if you're looking to kind of build a Ramones collection. Start with the first and start here as well. Next up, from that same collection, the debut record from Echo and the Bunnymen, also on Sire. I need to listen to this. I haven't even listened to this yet. I'm a big fan of Echo and the Bunnymen, and have never seen this debut record out there. So great pickup. There is that back cover, and there is that Sire label. Also from that same collection, Porcupine, Echo and the Bunnymen, another great record that I am eager to listen to. Happy to add this to the collection. This stuff is right up my alley, you know, mid to late 1970s, moving into punk, moving into post-punk alternative. Just love finding that stuff. So here's another record that wasn't part of the collection that I've been looking for. I've been looking for a clean copy. This is like a $5 or $7 or $10 record, and I think it's really underrated. George Harrison's Extra Texture from 1974. This is, I think, came out after his kind of disastrous 74 tour where he had laryngitis and just basically forged ahead regardless. And it was poorly received. People were not happy with the concerts. You know, he was kind of not doing a lot of Beatles stuff, and that's what the people wanted to hear in 1974. But this is a great record with a lot of great LA studio cats. Jim Keltner is one example. And some great songs, a little bit of a jazzy feel. I think this was kind of known as George Harrison's pop album. A little less overtly religious as far as the themes were concerned. But extra texture. That die cut cover is very cool as well. And you got a custom label on that as well. George Harrison. So Memorial Day weekend, my wife and I did not have any plans. What we decided to do was go have a nice brunch in Boulder, which is not far away from us here. And it gave me an opportunity to stop at one of my favorite shops in northern Colorado, Paradise Found Records, which is on the Pearl Street Mall. And then I also, on the way back, I wanted to stop at Absolute Vinyl. Doug Gaddy is the owner of that shop, longtime friend, great shop. Of course, he was based in Boulder for years. He's now on Main Street in Longmont. So let me show you what I found on that little excursion, which was on Sunday. Actually, let me backtrack. So on Saturday, I did pop back into Driver 8 Records and picked up a mono, very early pressing of Highway 61. This, of course, was a 2i. Near mint condition, priced right. There's no way I was going to pass this thing up. So thank you, Charles, again for sourcing some great records. And again, I was in the right place at the right time. You know, I was talking on Instagram, sharing a couple messages. Shout out Jeff Tubelandia, asking me my MO. I know that the Mobile Fidelity master recordings of Dylan's catalog, they sound great, and a lot of those were done in mono. There was that Dylan mono box from several years back that people rave about, and I have a few of the MoFi pressings, but I also have original mono pressings of Blonde on Blonde, the one with the Claudia Cardinal, that rare pressing that was pulled, and I now have Highway 61. I have a couple others as well. Bringing It All Back Home, I think, is one. So it's just a collecting thing. The sound quality is great as well if you can find these things clean. These Columbia 2Is, stereo or mono, you may see some non-feelable marks on these records maybe, but put those on your turntable and give them a quick wash and you might be very pleasantly surprised. So this record was in near mint condition. There was one very small kind of mark that is maybe less than an inch long on side one, I think. Non-feelable, doesn't affect play at all. And, this is a piece of history here, ladies and gentlemen. Also, if you can find these incredible pieces of art as far as the cover photography, if you can find this stuff with crisp corners and no ring wear, it's a no-brainer for me. So really happy to have this. Okay, let's wrap this up with my visit to Boulder and Longmont this past Sunday. Paradise Found, great shop. They now have a second location in Petaluma, California. The current owner of Paradise Found is an ex-Whole Foods executive who was based, I think, out of Boulder. and retired, and is a record collector. He's kind of a gear nut as well. I notice he's got a nice little Macintosh system there behind the counter. They spin records constantly. Really well-run shop, very nice and organized. And they also pull in a lot of heat. You may or may not know, Boulder, Colorado, I think they had the most amount of record shops per capita in the United States in the 1970s during the heyday of the vinyl. Of course, Boulder is a college town. University of Colorado is there. So I was really excited to see this in the new arrivals bin with the original hype sticker. I don't have the poster. Frankenchrist. This is an amazing record. The first Dead Kennedys record in my collection now. And this was an original pressing. You can see you've got the white label on that side. And then you have that kind of dark burgundy with the 45 RPM notation there on that side of the label. No poster, not really concerned about the poster, but a very cool record, near mint condition, in the shrink, priced right, under Discogs. That's another thing they do there that I like. Most of the things that they have in new arrivals are, I'm going to say, between 5 and 15%, maybe 20% lower than your median price that you might find on Discogs for the same record. So totally makes sense. Also at Paradise Found, a really nice clean copy. This is an OJC. You can see that right there. Notice there's no barcode, and I did see GH for George Horn, who was the mastering engineer for Fantasy Records, and really nice reissue. These are increasing. More and more people know about these now, but these are basically audiophile-ish copies, pressings of these iconic jazz records, and if you can find them at the right price, like under $20, pick those things up if you don't have a pressing of this particular record or whatever you're looking for. Great way to go. And last but not least, at Paradise Found, a really cool Albert King record. This is called, what is this called? King Does the King's Things. And this is an Elvis Presley tribute record. Everything on here is an Elvis cover. There is our track list. Really nice stereo pressing, original chess, 1970. There's that chess yellow label. I've got, what else do I have? I don't have Blues Live. I don't have Live Wire, and I would like to get that Freddie King record, but this is really, really good. Kind of surprising, and I like. Okay, then we made our way across, and on our way home, we stopped in Longmont. I love to go to Absolute Vinyl on Main Street in Longmont. And I get questions frequently on Instagram or YouTube. Someone's coming to the Denver area. What are your top recommended shops? This is always on the list. And this is another classic record, an OJC title. No barcode, so another early pressing. Doug recommended I pick this up. I see this record in other vinyl community videos, and I'm not familiar with it, so I'm interested in hearing this. And the price was right. I think this was like $14. Doug always cleans every record. Everything is kind of carefully graded. And another thing about Doug at Absolute Vinyl in Longmont, Colorado, very fairly priced. You will find, and this is another thing, he has been in the business for so long. People know about him, and he he is getting collections in all the time. He told me he has a backlog of boxes and boxes of records that he hasn't even gotten to yet. So definitely keep Absolute Vinyl on your hit list if you are shopping in Northern Colorado. Finally, this is the last record I picked up. Sahara, McCoy Tyner, a spiritual classic. And honestly, I don't know. I have given this one spin so far. It's a little bit out there as far as my personal taste is concerned. I am not going to give up on it. I'm going to try it again. But yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. But you know, I've seen this in other videos and people talking about this record, so I was thrilled to find it. Priced great. Picked it up, and you know, you don't know until you try. That's what I'm finding with a lot of these jazz records that you may not have heard before. You've got to give them a spin. And you know, if you can find an original pressing on Milestone for a good price, you know, I didn't hesitate, because I know if this is not for me, I can flip this along to somebody else. And you know, this is a pretty well thought of record. So whew, there you have it. A couple weeks of record collecting and finding cool stuff here locally. You know, you don't always have to fly other places or go to the Austin show or what have you. Make sure you're looking around in your backyard, and if you don't have, if you're not fortunate enough to have great records, locations to find records locally, by all means, you gotta check stuff out on Discogs, or there are other opportunities to get records on eBay. There are auctions on YouTube all the time. So anyway, I don't have to tell people how to go out and find records. What am I thinking? Thanks for watching, everybody. Please, if you liked today's video and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing. It's simple, and it helps as far as expanding the reach of the channel. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later.